2.5 years ago, I said when I hit 1,000 subscribers, the first giveaway will be going down to Florida and swimming with wild manatees. And then I scratched that. And with the newly rebranded channel, which is primarily centered around wildlife photography in the greater Yellowstone ecosystem, I decided instead I'm going to be giving away a free trip to Yellowstone National Park to photograph wildlife. And so today I'm in beautiful Bozeman, Montana. The Bozeman Yellowstone International Airport is just right over there, and I'm about to go pick up the subscriber who won this giveaway. The sun quickly set as I arrived at the airport and waited in line to meet the winner of this trip, Michael. After a few minutes, I finally pulled up to the airport doors where Michael was waiting. We left from the airport and drove down from Bozeman to West Yellowstone, where we stayed for the night. The next morning, we were up and in the park bright and early. Our goal was to find some rutting bull elk this morning, but after driving through the areas they typically frequent, we unfortunately found nothing. However, it didn't take long for us to find some other wildlife. This cow elk was standing in the billowing steam rising up from a geothermal creek in the grass below. After getting a few clips and photos of her, we moved down the road. Before long, we were out of the vehicle again, this time with an animal that is often very overlooked in Yellowstone: a coyote. The coyote began nosing around in the tall grass, looking for small prey such as mice, voles, and other rodents. Coyotes have incredibly strong hearing, which they use to their advantage when hunting. In these clips, it may look like he's sniffing around in the grass, but what he's actually doing is listening. He's listening for any small movement underground or in the grass that might indicate a rodent moving through. When he thinks he's pinpointed one, he will pounce on it, and if he's accurate, will come away with a meal. Today, it seems like this guy's hearing was working pretty well for him. After the small meal, the coyote walked out into an open patch and sat down, listening around for any more movement in the grass. As Michael and I were shooting the coyote, the sound of large hooves clacking against pavement began to get closer behind us. A big bison was walking up the road. We stepped off to the side to let him pass by, and as you can see in this clip, it's clear he owns these roads. After a good shoot with the coyote, we headed into the Little America Valley. The whole valley was socked in with low-hanging clouds, creating a very moody atmosphere for photography. Not long after entering the valley, we spotted a group of pronghorn way off in the distance. Then shortly after that, a pronghorn a bit closer up. This guy was foraging along a ridgeline, the foothills of the Beartooth Range looming behind him, shrouded in mist. These conditions made for some really cool video clips that I'm very happy I was able to capture. We left the pronghorn behind and proceeded to the eastern side of the valley. We stopped on a side road to glass a nearby mountainside for wolves, but saw no sign of them. We did, however, stumble across a bald eagle. This is a subadult bald eagle. Its bright white head and white tail feathers haven't fully developed yet, so it's got more of a mixed brown-white coloration right now. The eagle was pretty far away and wasn't doing much, so we turned back west and began heading towards the south part of the park to search for bears. On the way, we spotted a small herd of bighorn sheep along the roadside. There was nowhere to stop, so Michael grabbed a quick photo and then we continued south. We searched the area the bears typically hang out in for a bit, but had no luck, so we decided to give up and move on to look for other things. This was unfortunate, but we had still seen a great diversity of wildlife today, and for Michael, it had been an awesome start to a trip to Yellowstone, despite not seeing any bears yet. And as a quick reminder, if any of you guys would like to win a free trip where you definitely will see bears, you should subscribe, because when I hit 10,000 subscribers, I'm going to be selecting one of my subscribers to go on a free trip to Alaska to photograph coastal brown bears. Just like this Yellowstone trip, I will be funding the entire thing. It will be 100% free for the winner. And all you have to do for a chance to win is be a subscriber and comment on the giveaway announcement video that I will eventually release when I hit 10,000. As we headed back towards the interior of the park, we encountered a small traffic jam, so we decided to stop to see what was going on. A family of otters. Unfortunately, we were a little too late to get any photos, but I was able to grab a quick clip of them on the move through the water. From there, we headed to the west side of the park, to the geyser basins. We stopped at Old Faithful, waited for it to go off, watched it go off, and then walked a small stretch of the boardwalks, where we saw some incredibly beautiful geothermal pools. After that, we went into the Old Faithful Inn, the famous historic lodge that was built in Yellowstone over 100 years ago. It is still in great shape, and it is an amazing structure to look at and be inside of. After Old Faithful, we headed back to West Yellowstone for dinner. We decided to eat at TR's Burgers, a place I had never heard of before, but that ended up having delicious food. That was it for today's trip into the park, and unfortunately, we still hadn't gotten those bull elk or bears. Thankfully, the next day, our luck changed. We drove back through the park gates at sunrise and went straight to where we hoped the elk might be. It didn't take long at all for us to find a big herd right by the roadside, and finally, a bull. This area of the park is known as Mammoth, and the elk love it here. Mammoth is almost always busy with people, making it a place that predators like wolves don't usually frequent. Because of this, the elk feel safe here. They can't be hunted by humans in the park, and the wolves are too scared to come near developed areas like this, so it makes a perfect place for elk to safely forage and rest without much fear of being hunted. This huge bull elk was looking to mate this morning, and he had gathered up a small harem of females he was defending from other bulls. Just down the road, another bull was doing exactly the same thing. And unfortunately for these guys, neither of them were successful this morning. As the sun got higher in the sky and the elk rutting action died down, we drove around the park a bit more, looking to find other wildlife to photograph. We didn't have much luck, and it was almost time to return to Bozeman so Michael could catch his flight home. We made a quick stop at the Grand Canyon of the Yellowstone, then left the park and headed back to Bozeman. Michael's flight left early the next morning, but before I took him over to the airport, I asked him what he thought about this trip.
I just thought it was the most amazing experience of my lifetime. I had a great time. Thank you for everything.
It was an awesome few days in the park with Michael, and I'm very glad that he had a great time. It was so fulfilling to be able to bring one of you all, one of the viewers, out to experience this wonderful part of the country that I love so much, and I can't wait to do it again when one of you wins the free trip to Alaska when I hit 10,000 subscribers. We got to the airport and said our goodbyes, then Michael went into the airport to catch his flight. And with that, an incredible trip that marked the 1,000 subscriber milestone for this YouTube channel came to an end. Thank you all so much for your endless support and for helping me reach 1,000 subscribers. This trip wouldn't have been possible without you all committing your subscription to this channel and helping me get to 1,000. More cool wildlife content is coming in the future, so stay tuned. Thank you guys again so much, and I will see you all again soon.